Okay, so I wanted to make a visual representation of how you can organize your paper by themes. So here you have 4 articles that I read for a paper that I wrote arguing that tourism in the Galapagos Islands should be limited but not banned. And each of the articles is, as you can see, in a different color. I've printed the quotations and the notes on each article on a sheet of a different color. So you can see the articles right there. So they're on various themes, such as geographies of protection and production in the Galapagos Islands, ecology of protected areas, which is a pretty innovative recent article. And finally, this one on Islands of Wonder and Shame about the ecology problems in the Galapagos. So as I look at these 4 articles, I read the notes carefully and 4 themes begin to emerge. I begin to see 4 possible themes that I can use to organize my paper. And so my persuasive claim now becomes but not banned. 1, because humans visiting Galapagos do damage the environment. 2, but tourism provides money for conservation and can be limited to ecotourism. 3, because we need to consider all views and interests, especially of the inhabitants of the islands. And 4, because the islands belong to Ecuador, so sovereignty and internal immigration are issues that we have to take into consideration. So what I do then is I divide all the evidence from my 4 articles up and assign the pieces of evidence to the theme that they fit under. And you can see visually what the result is. You can see that each of the themes uses evidence from 2 or more of my sources. Okay, here are my 4 themes. Each one of them uses more than one of my sources. Some of them use all of my sources, but the material from the sources is distributed among as many of the themes as makes sense. No theme relies on a single source. Leftover evidence from the articles, some bits that didn't fit under any of my themes. And as I look at these leftover pieces of evidence, some of it suggests another theme, okay? So, as I look at the leftover evidence, some of it suggests that eliminating invasive species does not make sense. So I look for articles that might support that theme, right? And give me enough material to write a section of my paper on that particular theme. And I find an article called "Don't Judge Species by Their Origins," which explains that many ecologists nowadays are beginning to question the idea of pristine ecological areas and getting rid of invasive species, and instead suggesting that we should accept that the environment is the way it is, that men and women will be part of it, and that they have to be accommodated, and that invasive species are a fact of life. Discuss this theme as the 5th theme of my paper. Some conservationists now argue that traditional ideas like limiting invasive species are actually unscientific anyway and will not help manage the Galapagos Islands successfully. And here again, visually, when you look at the evidence I'm using for that theme, theme number 5, you'll see that it's a mixture of material from 3 of my original articles and the material from the new article that sort of gave me the glue to bring it all together into a coherent theme. So I hope that that helps you get a sense of how to organize your paper by theme. As I say, each of your paragraphs in your paper should be on a theme that relates back to one of your because statements, and each paragraph should cite 2 or more sources. There may be one exception, there may be one theme that is only discussed by one of your sources, but in that case, ideally, you should go out and find other sources that will give you more evidence for that theme. You may not have time for that this time, but the next time you write a research paper, perhaps you will.